Today, we're going to be looking at the How to Trade Pro MT5 Expert Advisor, also known as the HTTP EA. And this one was developed by Mr. Yuri Orlov, who claims to be a professional trader with over 25 years of experience. This video is sponsored by our free Golden Time Bomb Expert Advisor. Take your trading to the next level through automating the London breakout and the opening range breakout. Click the link in the description to download the EA completely for free. So here we can see that in terms of the strategy, it's meant to not use martingale, not to use grid, and to use daily position closing. And what he's saying is that it uses pending orders and only has one trade per instrument, and each one has a stop loss and a take profit, which is quite clever. And the interesting thing here is that he is running several different assets with this EA. So I venture that it must be using different set files, where the actual, the demo one is running on the euro dollar, on the M5 specifically, and that's what I chose to test it on as well. What we can see is that there is a EMA trend filter, and apart from that, that's most of the information we're getting. The actual signal looks really impressive, but he was playing around with the deposits a bit too by initially putting in quite a bit of money and trading with enormous lot sizes. But then afterwards he took out 5 grand and then all of a sudden has been trading with pretty modest lot sizes. The main takeaway for me is that it does have a roughly inverted 1-to-2 risk reward, and we can see that showing up here. That also matches the back test. So all we know is that it trades a bunch of assets, it has a trend filter, which makes sense, and is roughly a 2-to-1 inverted risk reward. So far it looks pretty decent. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's a bit of over optimization just because it's trading so many assets and he's being very, very specific over what exact time period to test on, which is not an awesome sign. So yeah, it's always good to be a bit suspicious. However, so far it looks to be like there might be something here. So now we can go on the back test here where I ran it on the euro dollar on the M5, and let's just go and see what's going on. It appears to be indeed trading a bit of a trend continuation, maybe a breakout style system. And it is using the trend filter as well. But interesting enough here, but I guess this is the H1, so it's not super helpful. Let's zoom back to the M5. You can see that it's only shorting when you're below the trend filter, which makes a lot more sense. And here we are going long above, and it seems to likely be driven by an oscillator of sorts. So stop loss. There's definitely an EMA to enter. I'm just trying to figure out what the trigger is here. So let's do a visual back test. I want to zoom through it here quickly. It looks to be more of a trend follower. So trend follower, because it's only entering in addition with the trend filter. If we look at, is it entering market? No, it's using buy stops. Okay. So it appears to me at least that it's placing a pending order at a certain level on a pullback. So it's waiting for pullbacks with the broader trend and then entering with buy stops and sell stops. So this could be a real strategy, honestly. It has a trend filter and the trigger is likely some sort of price action based pullback, or alternatively, he could have also put some sort of oscillator or more of an indicator based entry in there too. So yes, there could very well be a real strategy here. Let me just try and test it on a few other assets. It's also running pretty quick, which is something which you wouldn't necessarily expect if it was a blatant scam or history reader. But he did say run it on the M5 on Eurodollar. So I'm going to now try running the exact same thing on gold. Okay. Fortunately, it's actually a good thing that it's not working on gold, because if the exact same settings also work, that could be a bit challenging. So in my mind, there is a real strategy here. The only thing which is a bit suspicious is whether or not there's any sort of over-optimization going on. And that's frankly just because if you have this kind of amazing performance, to go back to the Eurodollar, let's go back there real quick. Sometimes it looks almost a little bit too good to be true, just because the edge is almost a little bit too good. If we look at this equity curve, that's really, really solid. And here we can see it's only 90 trades. It does have the roughly 2-to-1 inverted risk reward as well, but the win rate is 82%. So yes, like you can get this. It isn't impossible, but this is almost like to the higher echelon of what I would consider possible. And what we can see here is we are seeing some dips roughly around time of launching or closer to today. But honestly, there is a real strategy. And there's not a history reader, it does appear to be trading with some sort of logical reasoning behind it. The only kind of big caveat I would have is it heavily over optimized? So to determine that, I'd probably want to run it for, let's say, a month or so before like necessarily taking the plunge, and or at least understand the strategy behind it. If you know why an EA is making decisions, I find it personally a lot easier to trust. However, if you're not quite sure why something is making the trading decisions or why the performance is there, it might be worth doing a bit more digging. So maybe 2 courses of action. If you like this bot, perhaps reach out to the developer and ask him to kind of break down why it's trading the way it's trading, because frankly, he's not giving a ton of information on the sales page. And second of all, it's probably worth testing, maybe waiting to see the signal for a bit longer, just because we want to make sure that it continues to perform in the new current market regime. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one.